Good evening, everyone. My name is Nathan Wells, and for this semester, I have been studying future cryptography and cybersecurity. First off, what is cryptography? Cryptography is the science of protecting information by transforming it into an encoded format that can then be decoded by the user. To put it simply, it's the process of taking one piece of information, jumbling it up, and creating a key only shared by you and the receiver, and then using said key, the second user is able to decode the information and give the intended information to them. Why is it important, you might ask? It is something that's been used for a really long time to secure information that is transported across both networks and on foots to prevent any in-between users from accessing data that they are not supposed to see. I will be covering a few topics. First off, artificial intelligence, then development of new algorithms, which have subheadings of combining approaches and quantum cryptography. Then I'll move on to improving the Internet of Things, and lastly, the negligence improvement, in that order that they appear here. Artificial intelligence, first off. Artificial intelligence, how can it be used? Think of it like this. You have a computer that is a culmination of all different types of attack strategies and defenses, from cyber attacks, and you stick that to guarding a network. It has the ability to stop attacks as soon as they start, if not stopping it much quicker than a human would be able to, as well as being able to stop attacks. A portion of its processing can be devoted to what's called honeypotting. Honeypotting is when a bait computer is set up, it is easily accessible by outside attackers. And when it is accessed by these outside attackers and gotten into, the data that is produced from the attacks is sent to a server, and it records whatever they do, and that way a attack and defense strategy can then be created after the hacker breaks into the said computer. As well as doing this, it is able to develop new attack and defense patterns while it is idle. Lastly, the human element of artificial intelligence reduces the need for humans to constantly monitor a network and stop attacks, effectively increasing response times dramatically while increasing efficiency and reducing cost. This breaks down the time required for a person to sit around and basically look at the network or something like that. Moving on to the development of new algorithms. The development of new algorithms is going to be especially important for the future of cryptography, as these are the front line of our cyber defense. The current algorithms that we possess are too inefficient and will be easily broken when put up against quantum computing. Developing these new algorithms has the potential to alter how we store data and potentially increase the efficiency of how we process it. New mathematical approaches will be needed to fight against these advanced computers. Combining approaches. When I reference combining approaches, for the most part, I'm addressing the research aspect of any field, such as medical or cybersecurity. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about the data that is being accessed from them. The reason being is when a researcher goes to access one server stored with data, they have to go through the process of decrypting the data that they are trying to access. And then when they're done with this data, they have to re-encrypt it and then send it back, and then do the exact same process all over again when they try to access a different server that has a different data set attached to it. The problem with this is that you're having to access multiple facilities all the time in order to do research, and so therefore it slows down research. And whereas if we were to combine our approaches on how encryption is done, the computer would be able to access all these pieces of information in one single go, meaning that it can both free up processing power and create higher quality research to go off of. When dealing with quantum cryptography, we have to assess how it will affect our current cybersecurity infrastructure. As these computers are developed, new algorithms will have to be developed alongside it. Otherwise, we run old world algorithms on new world machines, allowing these algorithms to quickly be broken under polynomial time. By polynomial time, I'm referring to the time taken by a quantum computer to break an algorithm and get into a system, and whether or not this time is a reasonable or polynomial time. The problem with upgrading your computer systems to this new standard is that it can be rather costly, which would have the chance to put your data at risk if a major company did not conform to new standards, potentially causing large data breaches. Well, yes, at the beginning, this will be relatively costly because whenever something new comes out, for instance, a TV back 5 years ago would a large 7-inch TV back 5 years ago or something like that would cost about $1,000, whereas nowadays it costs about 500. We could expect to see this type of computer to go down in cost as well, but not in any time that would be significant enough to protect our cybersecurity nature. The need for more complex problems, reinforcing cryptography against the coming age of quantum computing that involved using an architecture that uses number theory and hides data inside very complex math problems that even quantum computers can't crack, will be necessary to hold off against those who would seek to cause harm to the everyday individual. As with the more complex the problem, the more likely it is to be deter a would-be hacker. As well, attack algorithms may have already been invented and are ready for a quantum computer to execute, which brings into light the fact that maintaining security in a post-quantum time will be quite rough. As soon as this computing power is accessed, it will be necessary to change every system over to it, or like I said again, you could risk data breaches on levels not known before. As well, I did mention the fact that it would be rough to maintain security. This is referencing to the fact that if you have not already changed over to quantum computing. The Internet of Things. The Internet of Things refers to most of the common smart devices found in households and in offices. Things such as Alexa or smart fridges and even wireless cameras are included in the Internet of Things. The problem with these things is that a lot of them have lackluster security and are able to be accessed easily by hackers. For instance, a young couple in Seattle had a hacker break into their baby camera and started talking to the child and telling it, "I love you," which frankly is kind of really creepy. This is a problem because these things will, with low security, provide easy entry points for attackers to get into your home network and allow them easier access to the rest of the network without the trouble of getting into your router's firewall, or rather your computer's firewall, and therefore intercepting data that is being transferred to and from your network. Negligence. While you may think that you are safe if you step away from your computer and leave it open for a few seconds to get a cup of coffee, this is not the case. Negligence in the computer world is overabundant. Not so much with younger generations as older generations, but we are all at fault of it. The negligence of employees at the office has the chance to cause sensitive data breaches. Like I was mentioning earlier, say you step away for a cup of coffee or use a restroom and you leave your computer unlocked, and whatever you were working on is still pulled up. Now, anyone walking by has a chance to do a few things to it. Look at the data on the monitor, that this data may be sensitive and they could see it as a way to blackmail you or as a way to profit off the company, and they could write it down or take a picture of it. Secondly, they could look at sticky notes on your desk. That could be a list of passwords, which is something you should never do, as it allows someone to get easily into all of your accounts that those passwords are attached to, because most of the time those who put those sticky notes on there also put on there what it's for and what the username is, because they don't remember any of it. And then they can also look into unencrypted files and do some physical hacking, such as plugging in a USB to your computer that has the purpose of mining the data off of your machine and then grabbing it later after work, for instance, and then selling the data on, let's say, the deep web or to somebody that they know can benefit from this. While it may seem that it is simply just leaving behind a piece of paper on your desk, that paper could still have sensitive data on it that can be used in any way that could cause a data breach, such as writing your password on a sticky note, like I mentioned, is the worst idea for security. Additionally, some companies just wait until it's a matter of fact too late. This form of behavior could also be seen as negligence. By waiting too late, I'm referring to the fact that some companies just wait until they actually have a data breach to upgrade their internet security. The reason it is not 100% is not 100% effective is due to the fact that the human error will continue to be the bane of cybersecurity for the foreseeable future. In conclusion, while our current infrastructure is okay, there is still a lot of work to do, as well as preparing for the future with quantum cryptography, AI involvement, and just rather fixing human laziness, as well as securing the Internet of Things. And lastly, here's a couple of pages of Works Cited that I got posted here for my images and a couple of definitions that I have used in my video. Thank you.